סיפורו של אחד הצועדים במשלחת איחוד האמירויות. איתן נישלוס הוא הנכד של תמרה זיסרמן שניצלה מהשמדה בבורות המוות הודות למשפחה נוצרית. המשפחה הזאת הסתירה אותה ובני המשפחה שילמו על כך בחייהם. איתן יצא השנה למסע עולמי לזכרה של סבתו, והמסע הזה מגיע לשיאו היום כשהוא משתתף במצעד החיים. הנה סיפורו.
For nearly 40 years, I've been searching for my Jewish identity. I grew up in a Russian, Hebrew, English home, very Zionistic and also very Jewish. But all my life, I felt there is something missing. Today, I board a plane and begin a journey to close a lifelong circle of a journey that began long time ago in Israel, then in South Africa, from there to Australia, now to Jerusalem, on my way to London, and finally to the March of the Living in Poland. None of this would have happened without my dear grandmother, Tamara, who was so dear to me. She never said a word to me about her dreadful experience at the Holocaust, so I've made it my mission to find out. My journey begins in my parents' home. I know my mother knows my grandmother's story. Many third-generation Holocaust survivors don't know their grandparents' stories. My grandmother never spoke about her story, and many grandparents could not speak. My only source for information is my mother. She has my grandmother's memoir, and today she will share it with me for the first time as I'm starting my journey on the March of the Living.
That is the full recording of my mom and your grandmother's story. The most important part of this story for my mother was to recognize Hadasevich family, the family who saved her life.
Ну и все ушли в этот день, значит, когда туда всех согнали, это уже потом рассказывали очевидцы, там уже были и полицейские, и пулеметы, и автоматы, и собаки, и машины из Минска. Ну и никто, конечно, домой не вернулся.
I will take this shoebox and its contents to Yad Vashem and to Auschwitz, and I pray that we will inspire a generation of upstanders, that may we all be righteous amongst the nations.
I'm so excited to depart to Israel. My first stop will be Yad Vashem in Jerusalem. I must visit there, and especially the righteous among the nations. I want to pay a tribute to my grandmother's saviors. As I stepped into the Valley of Communities and saw the scripture engraved in the stones, surrounding me as I walked among the names of the thousands of towns and villages that were captured by the Nazis, for the first time, I felt the scale of destruction and suffering of all the Jews who lived in these communities, and the scale of suffering that my grandmother endured. When I arrived at the stone commemorating Minsk, rain started drizzling down on my face. I looked up at the sky and realized that I am now responsible for taking my grandmother's story to the next generation and honoring the Chodasevich family and righteous among the nation's families who risked their lives to save countless Jewish lives. I continued walking down the path of commemoration, and all of a sudden, there it was, the wall with the name of the Chodasevich family, righteous amongst the nations. A sense of overwhelm dawned upon me. I owe my life to them, and now I owe a duty to pass the torch to the third generation and the future generations to come. I am forever grateful to them.
We are now in one of the most special places, in my view, in the world, because you have here 200 million documents about the darkest chapter in human history, for sure in Jewish history. I want to show you this documentation about your family, about the Neishlos family in Riga, Latvia. Those are the identity card and passports of your family, the Latvian identity cards.
Yeah, I recognize this face.
You recognize this picture.
Yeah.
So you have here really, it's on paper because they perished, but it's really living testimonies of your family in Latvia.
It's very moving for me, and it will be very moving for my family. So these tears are from all of us, and it's tears of gratitude. Thank you.
My final stop in my journey of commemoration is Auschwitz-Birkenau. This journey and my grandmother's story will stay with me forever. I will leave Grandma's box of memories open. It is a living, breathing memory of our people, to remember and never to forget.
ואיתן כאמור הוא אחד ממשתתפי מצעד החיים השנה, הוא אחד ממארגני הקבוצה שצועדת בשם איחוד האמירויות השנה לראשונה.